At this moment, Luffy's group is very hungry. So, they had to fish. But, they still hadn't caught any fish. So, Sanji scolded them. If they couldn't catch fish, they wouldn't get to eat. It turns out that Luffy had been hosting feasts continuously before. That's why they were short on food. Suddenly, Brook's fishing rod caught a big fish. So, they all worked together to pull the fish up. Finally, they caught a big fish. Meanwhile, Frankie noticed something. It surprised him. It turned out to be a giant beetle. But, it immediately stole their fish, which shocked Luffy's group. However, Luffy thought the beetle was really cool. At that moment, a little girl was watching them. She realized they were pirates. So, she ordered the beetle to attack Luffy's group. The beetle came back. This surprised everyone. But, Luffy found it very amusing. So, he decided he would capture the beetle. Frankie immediately attacked it. But, his attack wasn't effective. So, Luffy also planned to attack it. Unexpectedly, the beetle could breathe fire. Fortunately, Luffy managed to knock it back in time. This made the beetle angry. They realized it was about to burn their ship. But, Luffy was still very amused. So, he decided to invite it to join his crew. This shocked everyone. Luffy then immediately grabbed the beetle's horn, making it unable to see ahead. It accidentally grabbed Usopp and flew up. Zoro and Sanji also jumped up and grabbed the beetle's legs. And the beetle flew away. Nami noticed an island nearby. She realized it was the beetle's home. At that moment, the beetle returned to the little girl. Suddenly, it crashed into a cliff. Meanwhile, Luffy was having a lot of fun. And Luffy invited the beetle to join his crew. Suddenly, the little girl lunged at Luffy and bit him. This caused him a lot of pain. Zoro's group didn't understand what was happening. At that moment, some islanders also ran up. When they found out Luffy's group were pirates, this frightened them. Suddenly, an old man recognized them as the Straw Hat Pirates. This surprised them, but they didn't know who Usopp was. Meanwhile, Yoko was still very angry with them. Luffy didn't understand why she was angry at him. It turned out that the beetle named Boss was her friend. So, she wouldn't let Luffy take it away. Unexpectedly, Luffy let it go, and he helped pull Boss up. Luffy immediately apologized for hurting Boss. But, Yoko said that Boss is very strong. By tomorrow, it will shed its shell and recover. This surprised Usopp. It turns out Boss sheds its shell once a month, and it grows bigger each time. This excited Luffy. So, he decided that tomorrow he would fight Boss, to see who is stronger. Unexpectedly, Boss also agreed to fight him. At that moment, the villagers led Luffy's group inside. This surprised Usopp, because the cave was like a maze. It turns out the villagers use this maze to hide from pirates. Since they're just a small village, they aren't protected by the Marines. Sanji didn't understand why Yoko was wearing a Marine shirt. It turns out that Marine shirt belonged to Yoko's father. He sacrificed his life fighting pirates. This caused Yoko great sorrow. Fortunately, Yoko met Boss, and Boss helped her become happy again. Finally, they reached the village. Luffy was very excited, because the village was beautiful. Usopp didn't understand why the village resembled his hometown. It turns out the villagers also came from the East Blue. At that moment, Chopper was very worried about Luffy's group. Suddenly, Usopp called to inform Nami. And he told Nami to come into the village. Unexpectedly, a group of pirates was targeting the village. It turns out they wanted to capture the giant beetle for Shiki. At that moment, Nami noticed there were many reefs around the island. So, it would be dangerous for large ships to enter. Suddenly, Nami saw the villagers. They were very happy, because they were all fans of Nami. They even cut their hair and embroidered "Love Nami" on their clothes. This made Nami angry. So, she told them to take her to Luffy's group. While Luffy was sitting on the windmill, he realized this windmill was similar to the one in Fuchsia Village. This made Luffy feel very nostalgic. Meanwhile, Zoro had arrived at the sword training room. He noticed that the training room resembled the one from Shimotsuki Village. This reminded him of Kuina, who was Zoro's close friend from his childhood. Suddenly, Zoro saw a teacher instructing the children. This frightened the teacher, as he thought Zoro was there to challenge him. But, when the kids found out he was the pirate hunter Zoro, they were very excited. Meanwhile, Yoko was still observing everyone. At that moment, Usopp arrived at a mansion that looked like Kaya's. This surprised him, and he remembered the time he told stories to Kaya, which made her very happy. Suddenly, the owner of the mansion appeared. Usopp thought she was Kaya, but it turned out to be an old lady. Meanwhile, Sanji had arrived at a restaurant similar to Bharati. The chef there recognized Sanji as coming from Bharati. This made him very happy, because he was a fan of Zeph. So, he built this restaurant to resemble Bharati. Then, he invited Sanji to try his cooking. This reminded Sanji of the time he secretly learned recipes from Zeph. Sanji complimented the chef's food, which made the chef very happy. Meanwhile, Usopp was shocked, because the owner of the mansion was an old lady. Unexpectedly, she recognized Usopp as Usopp's son, which surprised Usopp. Usopp asked, "Did you used to live in this mansion?" So, the old lady told Usopp. Her dream was to live in this luxurious mansion. But, she wasn't related to Kaya. Meanwhile, Nami was still being led inside by the children. Suddenly, she saw a statue of herself, completely naked, which shocked Nami. So, she immediately hit them. At this moment, Yoko was feeling very uncomfortable, because she saw the villagers being friendly with the pirates. So, Boss comforted Yoko, which improved her mood. At that moment, the pirates' submarine approached the island. So, Largo and Quarto ordered their subordinates to find the giant beetle. It turns out Boss had escaped from Shiki's island. Thus, they wanted to capture Boss and return him to Shiki. Meanwhile, Frankie built an iron cage for Boss, because they thought Boss would join their crew. At this moment, the villagers were throwing a party. This made Luffy's group very happy, because the food was delicious. Meanwhile, Nami had entered the village. Suddenly, she met Yoko. Yoko didn't understand why everyone wanted to be a pirate, which reminded Nami of her past. She also used to hate pirates. Suddenly, the village was attacked, causing everyone to be scared. Quarto demanded they hand over the giant beetle to him, or he would destroy the village. This made everyone worried. Yoko realized they were after Boss. They even attacked the chef. So, Sanji rushed over to help him. The village chief didn't want anyone to get hurt. Thus, he tried to negotiate with the pirates. He told them they could take all the money and food, but they couldn't take Boss. Unexpectedly, the pirates wanted to take everything. Suddenly, Luffy finished eating. So, he decided to protect the village and Boss, which made Quarto angry, and he attacked Luffy. But, his bullets had no effect on Luffy. So, Luffy kicked Quarto. Zoro and Sanji also started attacking the pirates. Suddenly, Largo used a thorny net to capture Luffy, trapping him so he couldn't escape. Meanwhile, Chopper's group was still waiting for Luffy to return. Suddenly, they heard an explosion from inside the village. Frankie realized Luffy's group was in trouble. So, they decided to go help them. On Zoro and Sanji's side, they had already defeated Largo's subordinates, and they realized that Largo and Quarto were brothers, while Luffy was trying to escape from the net. But, the more he struggled, the tighter the net became. At that moment, Largo scolded Quarto for being too slow, and said they needed to quickly find the giant beetle. Yoko saw that the situation was not good, became worried about Boss, because Boss was still shedding its shell. Meanwhile, Largo wanted to steal everything from the village, but realized he needed to deal with Sanji and Zoro first. He then revealed that he had eaten the net fruit, which allowed him to create nets from his body. Zoro immediately attacked him, but Quarto blocked his attack. Largo then used his net to capture Zoro. Zoro realized that Largo's net was very sticky, and he had captured Zoro. But Zoro cut through the net and escaped. Unexpectedly, Largo continued to use his sticky net to capture Zoro again. Sanji saw that Zoro was caught, so he rushed in to help. Suddenly, Largo drank hot water, and he spat out a hot water net to capture Sanji. But Sanji blocked it. Largo then created an iron cage to trap him. Unexpectedly, the iron cage could shrink, and he managed to capture Sanji as well, leaving Usopp and Nami shocked. It turns out Largo could create nets based on the properties of whatever he swallowed. Now, Quarto was threatening everyone to hand over Boss to him, or he would destroy the village. But Yoko quickly stepped in to stop him. She challenged Quarto to a fight. As Yoko charged to attack, suddenly, Boss appeared, surprising everyone. The pirates were terrified because the beetle was enormous. Boss began attacking the pirates, which made Luffy very excited. But Largo breathed fire at Boss, and they kept shooting at Boss, making Yoko and the others worried. Eventually, Boss was defeated and fell. Everyone realized that if things continued like this, the village would be destroyed. So, they convinced the village chief to hand over Boss to the pirates. Meanwhile, Yoko was worried about Boss and everyone in the village. She didn't know what to do. Suddenly, Boss decided to move toward the pirates. So, Yoko tried to stop Boss. The village chief realized that Boss wanted to sacrifice himself to save everyone. Since Boss had arrived in the village, everyone had been very happy. Meanwhile, Yoko was reminiscing about her memories with Boss. So, she didn't want Boss to leave. Then, Largo created a giant cage, and he told Boss to go inside. But, Luffy immediately tore the net and punched Boss away. Surprising everyone, he wouldn't let Boss leave before fighting him. This surprised everyone, because Luffy did it just to fight Boss. Yoko began to cry and said, "I want to be with Boss forever." Suddenly, everyone decided to fight to protect Boss, as they considered Boss a member of the village. This made the pirates angry. But, Yoko saw Boss glowing, and everyone realized Boss had evolved. This amazed Luffy. Suddenly, Boss flew toward Luffy and breathed fire at him. This helped him escape from Largo's net. But, Boss was exhausted and fell down. When Largo and Corto thought they had captured Boss, Luffy stood up and said, "It's time to start the fight." But, Corto still looked down on them. Luffy told Zoro to cut the net for Boss. So, Zoro immediately ran to cut the net and free Boss. Meanwhile, Luffy used Gear 2. He grabbed Sanji's legs, and Sanji kicked Luffy into attacking Largo, sending him flying far away. Corto didn't know who Luffy was, but he still believed his brother would win. At that moment, Luffy faced Largo alone. Largo recognized him as Luffy the Straw Hat, the one with a 300 million berry bounty. So, he used fire to attack Luffy. But, Luffy dodged it. Luffy then immediately counterattacked. Meanwhile, Zoro and Sanji were holding back Corto. So, Nami and Usopp could lead everyone to safety. But, Yoko didn't want to listen to the pirates. Nami promised that Luffy would help her save Boss. So, Yoko agreed to listen to Nami. At that moment, Corto was mocking Sanji and Zoro, since there were only two of them. Suddenly the villagers returned, and they threw stones at the pirates to help Zoro and Sanji. Nami created lightning to attack them, which annoyed Corto because the villagers dared to resist them. Yoko realized that Zoro and Sanji were very strong. Suddenly, Corto flew up and shot at everyone. As he was about to attack Yoko, Boss immediately protected her. So, Boss charged at Corto and defeated him. Meanwhile, Luffy was still facing Largo. Luffy continuously attacked him, but Largo transformed his body into a net to avoid the blows. No matter how Luffy attacked, he couldn't hit him. Then, Largo transformed his body into a net to trap Luffy, making it impossible for Luffy to escape. As Largo thought he was about to claim the 300 million berry bounty, Luffy suddenly used Gear 3, inflating his body, causing Largo's net to tear. Luffy then immediately punched him, sending him crashing onto his own ship, causing him to sink into the sea. Suddenly, Luffy shrank back down and fell. Fortunately, Brook saw this in time and went to rescue him. But, Boss flew over and carried both of them up. It turned out Boss was still angry because Luffy had punched him. They continued to fight until afternoon. Meanwhile, Yoko was missing her father. Nami went over to comfort her. It turned out Yoko's father also loved growing oranges, and he was killed by the pirates. Nami told Yoko that she also used to dislike pirates, just like Yoko, because Nami's foster mother was killed by pirates. But, Luffy helped Nami defeat Arlong and said, "Nami, you're my crewmate." So, she decided to become a pirate because of Luffy. This made Yoko laugh, because she thought Luffy was too foolish to be a pirate. At that moment, both Luffy and Boss were exhausted. But, neither was willing to give up. Suddenly, Nami announced it was time for them to leave. So, Luffy's group left, and everyone said goodbye to them. Yoko ran after them to thank Luffy for his help. And Luffy promised to have a rematch with Boss. At this moment, Shiki heard that Largo had been defeated. It turned out he had planned to create many monsters like Boss. And they would help Shiki conquer the world, which excited him greatly. At this time, the Marine headquarters is in chaos. Garp realizes that the person has returned, and he has made many Marine warships float in the sky, causing Garp and Sengoku to worry, because he is a person from the same era as the pirate king Roger. But he was defeated by Roger and captured by the Marines. After that, he escaped from Impelled Down. He is Shiki the Golden Lion. So, Shiki has made the Marine warships fall, causing the Marines to be terrified. Garp realizes this is Shiki's warning, because he is a legendary pirate who wants to come back and take revenge on this world. At this time, Luffy is lost on a strange island, and this island is floating in the sky. But Luffy is determined to find his crewmates. So, he jumped down. Suddenly, he was chased by a crocodile. Fortunately, Luffy managed to jump up and escape from it. But the crocodile was caught by an octopus, and the octopus defeated the crocodile. After that, it continued to chase Luffy, surprising him. Suddenly, a praying mantis appeared. The praying mantis immediately attacked the octopus. Unexpectedly, the praying mantis won, but it was immediately defeated by a bear. While Luffy did not understand what was happening on this island, suddenly, the bear targeted him. So, Luffy decided to fight it. But the bear was very fast, and it knocked Luffy into a tree. Luffy realized that this bear was very strong. So, he decided to use Gear 3. Luffy then threw a massive punch at the bear. Finally, Luffy defeated it. However, Luffy's body shrank, because whenever Luffy uses Gear 3, his body shrinks for a few minutes. Suddenly, Luffy saw an octopus that looked very delicious. At this time, Brook was with Frankie and Robin. Suddenly, he saw a colony of ants. But the ants did not attack him, and a giant fish appeared, causing them to worry. Frankie thought they would attack them. Unexpectedly, the ants ate the fish, leaving only the skeleton. Frankie realized that the ants did not attack Brook because he was a skeleton. This made Brook angry. So, Brook attacked the ants, and he defeated them. At this moment, Robin feels that the island is very strange, because the animals on this island have evolved in unusual ways. They are even very strong and intelligent. It turns out they are on an island floating in the sky. On Shiki's villa side, Nami is swimming comfortably in a large pool. Suddenly, Shiki and his two subordinates appeared, dancing in front of Nami. But Nami did not pay any attention to them. Shiki asked Nami, "Have you made your decision?" However, Nami told him to let her go. They kept performing comedic acts in front of Nami, making Nami uncomfortable. She didn't know how to get out of there. It turns out that a week ago, they received news. The East Blue, their homeland, is in danger, and many villages have disappeared in just one night, causing everyone to be worried. When Luffy planned to return to protect his homeland, suddenly, a giant ship appeared above them, surprising everyone, because the ship, as big as an island, is flying. Usopp recognized it as a pirate ship. Suddenly, Nami sensed a storm approaching. So, Luffy informed the giant ship. It turns out this is Shiki's ship. He realized what Luffy wanted to say to him. So, he sent Luffy a seashell. Luffy threw it to Nami. Usopp recognized it as a tone dial from Skypiea. So, Sanji also realized they were not ordinary pirates. Meanwhile, Shiki was also surprised, because Luffy's group knew how to use the tone dial. So, Nami informed him that a storm was approaching. But Shiki's navigator did not detect any signs of a storm. Suddenly, a storm actually appeared, surprising them. So, Shiki immediately ordered his ship to turn back. He even sealed the deck doors, causing his subordinates outside to be blown away. Thus, Luffy's and Shiki's ships escaped the storm. Suddenly, Shiki shot his navigator, because his navigator was too useless. But Shiki realized that Nami was a very skilled navigator. So, Shiki decided to descend and meet Luffy's group, surprising Luffy and Usopp. Because he could fly, he introduced himself as Shiki the Golden Lion, and he thanked Nami. Luffy then asked Shiki, "How can your ship fly?" Shiki explained that he ate the float fruit, allowing him to negate the gravity of everything he touches. So, he touched Zoro's dumbbell, and made it float, causing Luffy to be delighted. So, Luffy asked him to help him fly. But his powers are ineffective on living creatures, causing Luffy to be disappointed. So, Shiki invited Luffy's group to his ship to hang out, to thank them for helping him. But Luffy declined, because he needed to return to the East Blue. Surprising everyone, Luffy said he couldn't relax while his homeland was in danger. So, they decided to return, making Shiki pleased, and he said he would help take Luffy's group back to the East Blue using his powers, making Luffy very happy. After that, Shiki made the sunny ship float, and they returned to the East Blue with Shiki, making Luffy very excited, because their ship was flying very high. Suddenly, Chopper saw islands floating in the sky, surprising them, because the place was very beautiful. Shiki said that everything floating here is his power. Suddenly, he welcomed them to Mervell, also known as the Hidden Land in the Clouds. So, he then captured Nami, surprising everyone. Before they could react, Shiki deactivated his powers, causing the sunny ship and Luffy's group to fall. Luffy was about to retrieve Nami. Suddenly, Shiki maneuvered the ship to toss them away, causing Luffy's group to be separated. At this time, Dr. Indigo showed Shiki his new evolution experiment. It turned out to be a bird. Suddenly, it shocked Shiki, making him angry and throwing the bird away. So, Nami ran over to protect it. Nami did not understand what evolution experiments were. Thus, Shiki explained to her, "This island is filled with evolved creatures, all thanks to a type of plant called IQ. It helps animals develop their brains and evolve." So, Dr. Indigo used IQ flowers to create a drug called SIQ. After injecting this drug into animals, it stimulates their fighting instincts. Nami did not know his goal. Shiki said, "If you become my ally, I will tell you my purpose." But Nami refused. So, Shiki threatened Nami. He said he would make Nami beg him for her crewmates. At this moment, Nami realized that Luffy's group was fighting with the monsters. So, they wouldn't be able to arrive here soon. On Sanji's side, he encountered a giant beetle. But he immediately defeated it. Sanji kept shouting to find Nami, attracting the monsters to his location, causing Usopp to be frightened. Suddenly, they saw a huge tiger. As it was about to eat Usopp, Sanji rushed in and kicked it in the head, and he defeated the tiger. But another pack of monsters appeared. They charged at Sanji like bullets, causing him and Usopp to fall off a cliff. Fortunately, Sanji and Usopp fell into a village's water lake. At this time, a little girl was looking for IQ flowers. But she saw the monsters fighting, causing her to be frightened and faint. As the monster was about to eat the girl, Zoro immediately defeated it. Chopper also arrived riding a mammoth. At this time, the girl woke up. She realized they had saved her. So, she pointed them in the direction to get out of the snowy area, surprising Chopper, because Zoro always led them astray. So, the girl introduced herself as Xiao, and she would lead them to her village. At this time, Sanji and Usopp also woke up. They saw a village in front of them. Sanji noticed a small wing on their arms. It turned out that the woman had saved them. Sanji asked about the wing on her arm, but she also didn't know why they had the wing. At this time, she told Sanji that the man and young woman in the village had been taken to the palace by Shiki. If they dared to resist him, their lives would become hell. Suddenly, she made Sanji and Usopp lie down. It turned out that Shiki's monitoring snail was observing everyone, to prevent anyone from having the intention to oppose him. At this time, Zoro and Chopper approached the village. Suddenly, the mammoth became frightened, causing them to fall. Zoro did not understand what made it run away. It turned out that Chopper also smelled something very unpleasant. Xiao said it was daft green. The area around their village was planted with this plant to deter wild beasts, causing Chopper to feel very uncomfortable. So, they found the daft green plant. Xiao told them not to smell it too much because it was toxic. At this time, they brought Xiao back home. But she was scolded by her mother, because she was not allowed to leave the area with daft green. It turned out Xiao wanted to find medicine to save her, because Xiao's grandmother was very ill. At this time, Xiao's mother thanked Zoro and Chopper, while Chopper asked what illness Xiao's grandmother had. It turned out her illness was called daft, causing parts of her body to gradually turn blue. And this was also the poison of the daft green plant. But only IQ flowers could cure this disease. However, all the IQ flowers had been collected by Shiki, surprising Chopper, because this was caused by Shiki himself. It turned out that 20 years ago, humans and animals here lived peacefully together. But Shiki changed everything. At this time, Chopper still couldn't treat the illness, because he hadn't studied this type of disease yet. So, Zoro decided to rest. On the other side, Sanji and Usopp were very tired. Thus, they also sat down to rest. Suddenly, they encountered Zoro and Chopper. At this time, Nami was still looking for a way to escape, and she discovered a drain pipe under the pool. Meanwhile, Shiki had gathered all his subordinates to start his plan. Suddenly, Dr. Indigo arrived to report that Nami had escaped. It turned out Nami and the bird had escaped through the drain pipe. So, Shiki immediately ordered a search for her. At this time, Nami had escaped, but they continued to fall into another water lake. Unexpectedly, there were many giant monsters underneath. As they were about to eat Nami, she shocked them. Thus, the bird was safe. But Nami was also shocked since she was in the water. So, the bird picked Nami up. The bird was worried, because it didn't know what to do. So, it kept pecking Nami's head. But Nami hit the bird. At this time, Nami thanked the bird for saving her, making the bird very happy. Meanwhile, Nami didn't know where she was. Suddenly, Nami saw the sunny ship. So, Nami ran towards the ship. Suddenly, Nami saw Luffy, but he was being chased by a bunch of monsters, causing Nami to be frightened. So, she ran away, while Luffy was chasing after Nami. Unexpectedly, the bird discharged electricity and defeated the monsters, causing Luffy to be delighted. At this time, Nami had changed into a new outfit, while Luffy was grilling the monsters to eat. And Luffy named the bird Billy, surprising Nami, because Luffy is a rubber human. He wasn't affected by Billy's electricity. Next, they needed to find the others. At this time, Frankie had designed a motorbike powered by a shrimp, helping them move very quickly. Suddenly, they saw a castle. The shrimp immediately stopped the bike, because it didn't want to go inside. Robin noticed that the shrimp was afraid. At this time, Billy was carrying Luffy and Nami through the air. Suddenly, Billy smelled Daft Green, causing Billy to run away in fear. Nami saw a nearby village surrounded by trees, and she realized that Billy didn't like the smell of this plant. So, they covered Billy's nose, so it could carry them into the village. At this time, Luffy reunited with Zoro and Sanji, making Sanji very happy, because Nami was still safe. But they had been detected by Shiki's monitoring snail. So, Shiki decided to go to the village to capture Nami. At this time, Frankie's group had infiltrated Shiki's palace, and they saw the pirates eating and drinking comfortably. Suddenly, Brook asked a staff member, "Can I see her underwear?" So, he was hit by her. Robin noticed that her hand had wings. She explained that it would help them become like birds. Suddenly, a pirate recognized them as the Straw Hat crew. So, he thought they were also there to ally with Shiki, and he showed them a newspaper, surprising them. At this time, Xiao was very happy and informed her mother that her father and others in the village had been released by Shiki, because Shiki would be leaving for the East Blue. Surprising Nami, she realized that the one planning to attack the East Blue was Shiki. So, Nami went to inform Luffy. At this time, Robin's group also learned Shiki's plan. He would bring all the monsters from there to the East Blue to help him conquer the world. Suddenly, Robin discovered more information, that tonight Shiki would destroy the only village on the island. At this time, Shiki had found Luffy's group. He still wanted to force Nami to go with him, making Sanji angry. Luffy said, "I won't forgive anyone who hurts my teammates." So, they all rushed to attack him together. Although he avoided Luffy's and Usopp's attacks, he was hit by Zoro and Chopper. Then, Sanji also jumped in to kick him. But, Shiki blocked his kick when Sanji was in danger. Luckily, Luffy attacked Shiki in time to save him. At this time, Shiki decided to use his devil fruit powers, and he commanded the ground to transform into lion heads, surrounding them. So, Luffy broke one of the lion's heads, allowing them to see Shiki. So, Sanji kicked Zoro towards Shiki. But, Shiki blocked his attack, and then kicked Zoro to the ground. Suddenly, Shiki controlled the entire ground to grab them, causing Nami to worry, because everyone had been defeated by Shiki. While Shiki was enjoying himself, Nami realized that Shiki's target was the East Blue. So, she begged Shiki not to harm her teammates and her homeland. It turned out that the only thing Shiki was missing was a good navigator. So, he wanted Nami to be his navigator. While Nami was thinking about her sister, she promised to follow Shiki if he didn't harm her homeland. But, Usopp reproached Nami, because Luffy wouldn't forgive her if she sacrificed herself for them, making Shiki angry. It turned out that he had placed a large rock over their heads, causing Nami to worry. So, she agreed to Shiki's terms. But, Usopp continued to try to stop Nami. Thus, he was continuously attacked, to force him to be silent. At this point, Nami, to protect her teammates and homeland, had to kneel and beg Shiki to be his ally, which pleased Shiki greatly. So, he gave Nami a tone dial to say her farewells to Luffy's crew. Meanwhile, the villagers and Billy were very worried. After Nami said her goodbyes, Shiki ordered his subordinates to uproot all the daft green plants around the village. While Shiki was taking Nami back to his palace, the beasts began running towards the village. At this point, Shiki had Nami change into a new outfit, and showed her the village being destroyed by the beasts, shocking Nami. But, Nami tried to act indifferent and left. Frankie's group arrived at the village. However, the entire village had been destroyed. Finally, they found Luffy's group, so, they pulled Luffy's group out. At this point, everyone realized Shiki intended to use the beasts to destroy the East Blue, and Nami had sacrificed herself to save them. Suddenly, they encountered Xiao's family. Fortunately, they had taken refuge in a cellar earlier, so they were safe. Luffy saw Xiao holding a tone dial. He realized it was the tone dial Nami had left for them. Luffy played the recording. Nami said she decided to join Shiki because Shiki was a legendary pirate, and Luffy and his crew would not be able to defeat him. This made Luffy furious, as he thought Nami was underestimating him. So, Luffy left. But, Sanji wanted to listen to the recording again. Meanwhile, Luffy, still very angry, punched a large rock. Shiki realized Nami hadn't given up, as she was trying to destroy the daft green plants around his palace. But, Nami was discovered by Shiki. At this point, Nami was also poisoned. It turned out Nami knew Shiki wouldn't keep his promise, and he would destroy her homeland as well. So, Nami was determined to stop him, which made Shiki furious. Shiki forced Nami into a daft green plant, increasing her poisoning, and he surrounded her with metal bars to imprison her. Meanwhile, Shiki went into a conference room to prepare for his plan to conquer the East Blue. Luffy's group began their action. Suddenly, Shiki's subordinates noticed that the Sunny was flying towards them, surprising them, while Shiki started the meeting and formed the Golden Lion Pirate Alliance. His subordinates were very excited. Suddenly, Shiki received a report. 8 people were approaching, and they had defeated all the subordinates outside. Luffy's group arrived, and they broke through the doors of the conference room. Shiki saw Luffy and was very displeased. Luffy asked Shiki, "You plan to attack the East Blue?" Despite Luffy's group changing into impressive outfits, Shiki still looked down on him. Suddenly, hundreds of Shiki's subordinates appeared and surrounded Luffy's group, while Shiki was berating Nami for being a fool, for sacrificing herself to protect her homeland. But, Luffy scolded him for being the real fool, because Nami had helped clear the way for them to get here. So, Luffy's group began shooting at them, making Shiki angry, because his meeting was being destroyed. At this point, they had run out of ammunition. So, Luffy decided to fight seriously against Shiki. Shiki's subordinates stepped up to stop Luffy, but Brook put them to sleep. Luffy saw that Shiki was trying to leave, so he punched him in the face. But Shiki had already left. Luffy was then stopped by Dr. Indigo. However, Zoro wouldn't let anyone obstruct his captain, and Luffy continued to chase after Shiki. At this moment, Billy had found Nami, so Nami asked Billy to help her with something. Meanwhile, Usopp and Chopper had defeated many of Shiki's subordinates, but they still hadn't found Nami. Suddenly, Usopp saw a light in the distance, and he saw Nami. It turned out Billy was generating electricity. to prepare to explode and destroy all of Shiki's daft green trees. At this moment, Nami remembered her older sister. Before Nami left, her sister had given her a bracelet to wish for Nami's good luck. When Usopp and Chopper just ran to Nami's location, suddenly, the explosives went off. Fortunately, they managed to avoid it. Finally, they found Nami. Chopper noticed that Nami was severely poisoned. Suddenly, they saw the beasts coming towards them, causing Chopper and Usopp to panic. So, they carried Nami and ran away. At this moment, the beasts had entered Shiki's palace, causing Shiki's subordinates to panic. And they also attacked Frankie. When the beast caught him, it was defeated by Frankie. Brook and Robin also defeated the giant insects one by one. But, Robin was covered in the butterfly's powder, and she was targeted by Scarlet. At this moment, Chopper and Usopp had brought Nami to safety. Nami's condition was very bad, making Billy very worried. Chopper said only IQ flowers could cure Nami. Suddenly, they were attacked. It turned out that the attacker was Shiki. He was angry because Nami wanted to ruin his plan. So, he created many snow lion heads, scaring Usopp and Chopper when he attacked them. Fortunately, Luffy appeared and destroyed the lion heads, annoying Shiki. While Luffy was very angry, Luffy said to Nami, "I'll defeat him, and then we'll go back together." So, Usopp and Chopper took Nami away. Luffy then activated Gear 2, and he charged at Shiki with extreme speed, causing Shiki to be pushed back. Billy immediately flew in to help Luffy. At this moment, Chopper and Usopp found the room where IQ flowers were grown. As they were trying to find the antidote for Nami, they suddenly encountered Dr. Indigo. It turned out he was holding the antidote, but he wouldn't easily give it to them. At this moment, Zoro also arrived. He decided to defeat him to get the antidote, angering Dr. Indigo. So, they started fighting. Suddenly, Dr. Indigo created chemical orbs and continuously threw them at Zoro. But Zoro blocked them all. He continued to create a large chemical orb and threw it at Zoro, when he thought he had defeated Zoro. But Zoro was still unharmed, and he used the 9-sword style technique. So, Zoro immediately defeated Dr. Indigo with a single blow. Finally, they got the antidote. On the side of Sanji and Brook, they had defeated the beasts. Unexpectedly, Scarlet had captured Robin. Sanji saw him about to kiss Robin, which made Sanji very angry. He immediately ran as fast as he could to Robin, surprising Scarlet. When Scarlet attacked Sanji, he jumped up and used a continuous fiery kick to defeat him. So, Sanji defeated Scarlet, but Robin was falling. Unexpectedly, Brook managed to catch her before Sanji, making Sanji angry. At this moment, Nami also woke up. She realized that everyone had come to save her, causing Nami to cry. Suddenly, Nami felt a large storm approaching, while Luffy was still fighting Shiki fiercely. But Shiki wanted to end the battle quickly. So, he split a lake in half and used the water to capture Luffy. Shiki saw Luffy being defeated, which pleased him greatly. Suddenly, Shiki received news of the approaching storm. It turned out Usopp and Chopper had taken control of the control room to have them inform Shiki to head straight into the storm. At this moment, Shiki continued attacking Luffy, causing him and Billy to fall. Suddenly, Shiki was shocked, because his island was entering the storm, causing the beasts and Shiki's subordinates to panic and flee, while Robin and Chopper were preparing to destroy Shiki's laboratory. At this moment, Luffy was very tired, but he still wouldn't give up. Luffy said to Billy, "I will defeat him." So, he continued to ask Billy to lift him up, surprising Shiki. Suddenly, Nami was hanging from the top of the palace. She informed Shiki that they had planted bombs throughout his palace, and they would make his plan fail, which made Shiki angry, as his plan had been in preparation for 20 years. Suddenly, Usopp attacked Shiki, but he dodged it. Shiki then attacked Nami. So, Luffy told Billy to help Nami. Shiki saw them continuously obstructing him, making Shiki furious. Suddenly, Luffy used Gear 3, and he lifted his giant leg into the sky. Shiki thought that Luffy would be struck by lightning, but Luffy said, "The one who will be defeated is you." Suddenly, lightning struck Luffy's leg, making Shiki very happy, as he thought he had won. But Luffy still wouldn't give up. He was determined to protect his friends and his homeland. So, he called this attack the Giant Thor Axe. And Luffy delivered a powerful blow to Shiki, making Shiki unable to believe it, because he was defeated by someone from the East Blue, like Roger. Unexpectedly, Luffy's attack destroyed Shiki's entire island. Fortunately, Frankie managed to pilot the Sunny out of there in time, causing everyone to worry about Luffy. They didn't know what happened to Luffy. Suddenly, they heard Luffy's voice. It turned out Billy had saved him just in time, making everyone very happy. However, Luffy had shrunk in size. They found this form of Luffy very cute. Unexpectedly, Shiki's power had vanished, causing his island to fall. Nami was worried about the people in the village. Suddenly, they saw people flying, surprising them. Finally, Shiki and his subordinates were captured by the Marines. But the Marines realized that it was the Straw Hat Pirates who defeated Shiki. So, the Marines chased after them. At this moment, Sengoku also received the report. He realized that the Marines hadn't accomplished anything yet. Luffy's group was safe, and Nami's health had also recovered, making everyone very happy. Suddenly, Luffy angrily asked Nami about the recording, because he thought Nami believed he couldn't defeat Shiki. But everyone said Luffy hadn't heard the entire recording. So, Luffy played it. However, Nami only wanted to throw it away, as she felt very embarrassed. It turned out the final thing Nami said was, "I believe you all will come to save me." At this moment, Billy and the Beasts had arrived at a new island, where they lived peacefully with the villagers of Shao. That's it for today's video. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to support Oni-chan in future videos. Thank you for watching. Forever love.